book of Abba Keddus, which is FIKARE IYESUS, and seek to meet these requirements. You understand? Through faith and through good work. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to learn, learn the full knowledge, not the partial knowledge, half the truth. We learn about, okay, Solomon and David, and that's where it stops for most folks. You understand? No wonder there's a disconnect with what goes on today. If you don't understand history, you won't understand prophecy, because prophecy is talking about history. That's why in this little book of Abba Keddus, the little book of Abba Keddus, which is FIKARE IYESUS, one of the only books we can really attribute. When I say the only book, I'm talking about a spiritual book. And this is so interesting, my brothers and sisters, because in Revelation it talks about the little book. You understand? There was a little book, and when I ate this little book, it was sweet to my mouth, but it was bitter to my belly. And I've often wondered. Some have said it's the Bible, that little book, compared to a lot of other books, but that's too alamawi right there, and it's not in context of the time. It must mean something else. And now we found the Fikare Yesus, or really, this was delivered to us. You know what I'm saying? And blessed be those who delivered this to us. The Fikare Yesus, where Tinbite Nabiyat, you understand, the Fikare Yesus, which is Begarmawi Negusha Nagesh Kadamawi Haile Selassie. And it was published in the Arba Shostenyao Zemene Mengisht, in the 43rd year of the government of the King of Kings of Haile Selassie I. And we have a fourth Artenya Gize Yihmetaf Be Betesfa Matemia Beit Tatame. But this is what was published by His Imperial Majesty, this little book. And this little book begins off of a quote from Yohannes Arai, Mi'raf, and chapter 1, Kutera Shost, verse 3, where it says, Zemenuk Rabualena, Yehina Methaf, Yemiya Nebo, Yetin Bitun Kala, Yemiya Semutina, Bewistu Yetesafo Win, Yemiyat Ebukuta Bitu Ana Nacho. This is the very same aspect of scripture that we began off on. You know what I'm saying? So we want to come full cipher on this reasoning. You know what I'm saying? In His Imperial Majesty's little book, the little book of His Imperial Majesty, which we're seeking to translate and make available. You know what I'm saying? That's a work in progress, but we want to announce to you the Fikare Yesus. It quotes chapter 1, verse 3, where it says, Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So His Imperial Majesty Garmawi Negusha Nagesh Kedamawi Haile Selassie. So when you hear some saying Garmawi Kedamawi Haile Selassie, that can be said, but the fullness, if you want to say His Imperial Majesty Bamarinya, His Imperial Majesty in Amharic is Garmawi Negusha Nagesh, or Garmawi Negusa Nagesh. It's to say His Imperial Majesty. Like we write in English, we say HIM for His Imperial Majesty Bamarinya. In the Lisana Negusha Nagesh, in the language of the King of Kings, in the Nisu Kwankwa, you understand? It says Garmawi Negusha Nagesh. And his name is not Ate. His name is not Ate. Ate Haile Selassie. His name is Kedamawi Haile Selassie. His name is Kedamawi Haile Selassie, if you please. But it's in the 43rd, the Arba Shostenyao, Arba Shostenyao Zemen Mengisht. So it's in the 43rd year of his reign. Now here's what's very interesting. The 43rd year of his reign would be about 1970, some would say 73, you understand? Or 70, depends on how you're counting it, or 72. You know what I'm saying? But right here it says Addis Ababa. You know what I'm saying? Ashura Zetain Meto Silsa Sadist. In other words, a Meta Mehiret time. You know what I'm saying? In Ethiopian calculation, 1966. So if we add 7 years, 7 to 8 years, that'll be 70, roughly 70, 73, you understand, or 74, 66 plus 7. You know what I'm saying? So what's very interesting about this is that this was published, you understand, the little book of His Imperial Majesty as a last will and testament was published around 1973, 1974 by the King of Kings. This Tinisha Metzhaf, you understand, this kitab. Some will call this a kitab. This would be called properly a kitab, the FIKARE IYESUS, where Tinbite Nabiyat, the FIKARE IYESUS. You understand? And the opening word that's published in here is Revelation chapter 1, verse 3, where it says there's a blessing. You understand? The blessing, the superlative blessing, which is even this more than the barakat. See, Betuan, to be the Betuan or be Betu, you understand? Betu, you understand, is to be superlatively blessed. That means to have barakat bebizat, you know, all compressed, all it's like a source, you understand, of blessing. A blessing of blessings and a source of blessing is to be the Betuan. That's what it means. So barakat is not really proper, it's not the fullness of what it means when it says blessed. It's actually Betuan. And this is the very same word that Jesus Christos used in the Beatitudes. For the Beatitudes show us the true, beautiful attitude of the born again. You understand? It's the constitution, in other words, of the kingdom. The constitution of the kingdom of the King of Kings and His Christ is the Beatitudes. The beautiful or the proper attitude, the Betuan or the blessed attitude, you understand, is summed up in the Beatitudes. So the word Betuan that's used in blessed is, you understand, or he is blessed, you understand, is also the very same word used right here in Revelation. You understand? And is quoted, the first quote from the Metzhaf, from the Tinish Metzhaf of the King of Kings, the FIKARE IYESUS, is Revelation chapter 1, verse 3. So we're going to go more into that, Yah willing. And truly, this little book, it fulfills what Revelation speaks about when Revelation itself speaks about this little book. Now, where do we find, if we're talking about the little book now, where do we find the little book? You know what I'm saying? Where do we find this little book within the scripture? This book that John says that he ate this little book. You understand? And the little book, it was sweet, you understand, to his mouth, yet it was bitter to his belly. And why was that so? And so many things that I want to preach and share. And so I say, okay, there's this subject and there's that subject. And when I make my will obedient to good influences, I'm speaking on a certain subject matter where I wouldn't have thought that this would link with this or would bring that into play. It's not like I think, okay, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this. No, there's usually a couple of things, and then when I align with the Holy Spirit, more things just, and it dovetails where I didn't even maybe see the overt connection before in many of these things, in many of these teachings, these subject matters. But let's touch on what is the little book. What is the little book?